At prom, my daughter pranked an autistic boy who had a crush on her. She looked. Her friends filmed, and TikTok did the rest. The internet turned his pain into a joke. He ended up in the hospital. I said sorry to his mother. The next morning, my daughter woke up to silence. I took everything, until she does one thing to redeem herself. Part 1. For 2 decades, I've sat across from students in my office. I've held their trembling hands, listened to their darkest thoughts, walked them through heartbreaks, panic attacks, failed dreams. I believed I was good at this, at helping people put the broken pieces back together. But what I didn't realize, what I was too blind to see, was that the storm I'd been trained to shield others from had been quietly brewing inside my own home. The phone rang at 11:47 p.m. on prom night. I remember the exact time because I just settled into bed, finally allowing myself to breathe after a long day of chaperoning junior prom pre-checks. I expected it to be Aubrey, maybe telling me she was on her way home or asking if she could stay out a little longer with her friends. She'd looked radiant when she left, hair curled just right, a smile that could blind, $400 dress flowing around her like she belonged in a magazine. She hadn't looked back when I told her to be careful. She never does. But it wasn't Aubrey on the line. It was Janet Thompson. Her voice shook. Diana, I need to talk to you. It's about what Aubrey did to Eli. My stomach twisted before she could even finish the sentence. Something in her voice shattered the air around me. Michael came home sobbing, she continued, her voice cracking like glass. He won't come out of his room. Diana, he saved for 3 months to buy those flowers. Maïran. My heart dropped, and with every word she spoke, the picture became painfully clear. My daughter had pretended to like Eli Thompson for weeks. She let him believe he had a chance, that someone finally saw past his autism. She accepted his invitation to prom, told him he was unique and interesting, someone she could see herself with. He bought her flowers, Atux, hope, and in front of half the senior class, in a moment recorded from multiple angles, Aubrey revealed it had all been a lie. A prank, she'd said. Her friends looked, filmed, uploaded. By the time she walked into the house at 1:03 a.m., heels clacking against the hardwood like nothing had happened, the video already had over 847,000 views. The caption: when this weirdo thinks he has a shot rolling on the floor laughing #PromFail #AutisticBoyCheck #social experiment. She didn't notice me sitting in the dark. How was prom? I asked, my voice low, cold. She gasped, hand flying to her chest. God, Mom, you scared me. It was fine, she said, tossing her purse onto the table. Eli Thompson didn't think it was fine. Her face twitched, just for a second. A flash of guilt. Then came the eye roll. Oh my God, Mom, it was a joke. Everyone looked. Everyone except Eli. She groaned, already walking toward the stairs. He's too sensitive. Maybe if he wasn't so weird. Aubrey Grace merci. Sit down. Something in my voice must have cut through her bravado. She stopped, turned slowly, sat. 20 years of guiding lost teenagers hadn't prepared me for this, for seeing my own child become a stranger in front of me. I'm tired, she mumbled. Can we do this tomorrow? No, we're doing this now. I pulled out my phone and played the video, loudly, every second of it. Eli's hopeful smile, the way his hands shook as he held out those flowers. Her laughter, her friend's laughter, his face as it broke. She watched it, unblinking, then smirked. It's at like 1 million views now. Megan thinks I might get brand deals. Hysteridateur. Are you serious right now? What? She snapped. It's not my fault he can't take a joke. He's always following me around, talking about his stupid trains. It's creepy. I was stunned. I had raised this girl alone since she was 8, worked late nights, skipped meals, saved every penny to give her everything. Dance classes, tutoring, summer camps. I had built my life around hers, and somehow, I had raised someone capable of this cruelty. Go to bed, I said. Quiet, controlled. We'll talk more in the morning. She shrugged, marched upstairs like nothing happened, probably already planning her next viral post. But I didn't go to bed. I grabbed my keys and drove straight to the Thompsons' home. Their porch light was off. Only one window glowed, Eli's. I rang the bell at 2 a.m. I couldn't wait until morning. Janet answered in a bathrobe, eyes red and swollen. Behind her, Tom stood like a fortress, arms crossed, his expression stone. I'm so sorry, I said. The words felt microscopic, useless. I just found out what happened. I'm mortified. There's no excuse. Your daughter, Tom interrupted, his voice like steel, targeted our son because he's different. She played with his heart like it was a toy. Do you know what that does to someone like Eli? He already struggles to trust, to understand people. to believe he's worthy of love. And now, he cried himself to sleep, Janet whispered, after trying to hurt himself with scissors. My knees buckled. I leaned against their wall to stay upright. In all my years counseling troubled kids, guiding them away from self-harm, I had failed the one I never imagined I'd have to protect, from my own daughter. Is there anything I can do? I asked, eyes full of shame. Please, tell me how to fix this. They exchanged a glance. Keep her away from him, Janet said, and maybe ask yourself how you raised someone who could do this in the first place. I drove home in a fog of shame and clarity. Something had to change. Aubrey needed to learn what consequences looked like. She came downstairs around noon yawning, scrolling through her phone in those silk pajamas I'd saved 3 months to buy for her sweet 16. Mom, she chirped, the video's at 2 million now.
I might get.
She stopped.
Where's my phone?
I held it up. The iPhone 14 Pro I bought 6 months ago.
You mean this?
Funny.
Give it back.
No. Excuse me, you no longer have a phone. Your car keys are in my office. Your laptop is locked up. As of this moment, you have no access to social media, your friends, or your privileged little world. Only school and home.
She looked. You can't do that.
I have plans tonight.
Megan's after party. Megan, the one who filmed Ellie crying.
She rolled her eyes. You are being so dramatic. It was a prank.
Oder kiss do way worse.
Name one friend of yours who spent weeks manipulating a boy with autism just to humiliate him for internet clout. Autism, she scoffed. He's just weird. He talks about trains and makes noises. He's autistic, Aubrey. You know that. I've explained this before. His brain processes emotions and cues differently. He takes people at face value. He trusts what they say. Then maybe he shouldn't try to date normal people.
The word normal, it me like a slap.
Cold.
Final.
Your college tour next week? Cancelled. Shopping trip with Brooke? Gone.
Spring break plan?
Absolutely not. Her face flushed.
You can't control me.
This is abuse. I'll call CPS. With what phone? She screamed. Threw a pillow. Cursed me. Said I was ruining her life. That no one would want to be around her now. That I didn't understand how the internet worked.
Il est réel.
When she was finally quiet, I placed a paper in front of her.
What is this?
Your apology script. You're going to record a video, taking full accountability. No excuses.
No brushing it off. No blaming Ellie.
I'm not doing that. Then you're not getting a single thing back. Everyone's going to hate me now. Like they hate him. You should see the comments. People are calling him defective, saying he should. She stopped. Saying what? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. That he's better off dead.
I stared at her.
You didn't write those comments, but you gave them a target. We looked at each other across the kitchen island I'd saved 3 years to install. I saw her father in her, the same narcissism that had blindsided me after our wedding. That same cruel streak. Fine, she snapped. I'll do your stupid video. But just so you know, she's fat. That was just the beginning. Part 2. That afternoon, while Aubrey sulked behind her bedroom door, no doubt hurling silent curses at me, I did something I swore I'd never do. I went through her things. Call it what you will, an invasion of privacy, a breach of trust. I don't care. I had to understand. I had to see with my own eyes the monster I might have unknowingly raised. I needed to know how 20 years of counseling other people's children had left me blind in my own home. Her room smelled faintly of perfume and entitlement. Trophies lined her shelves, affirmations of academic and social dominance. But beneath that polished exterior, darkness festered. The first clue was in her desk drawer, hidden under old homework and expired coupons. Dozens of printed screenshots, carefully selected and saved. And not just of Eli Thompson, though there were plenty of those. Messages, memes, clips. Her and her friends discussing how cringe and desperate he looked in his class presentations, mocking the way he talked about historical battles like they were personal memories. But Eli wasn't the only victim. There was a girl with a stutter, captioned TikTok audition fail face with tears of joy. A boy with cerebral palsy, caught on camera struggling to open his locker, with the caption system rebooting robot face skull. A shy freshman with acne so severe it scarred his face, targeted in a video simply titled, Pizza Face Tries to Flirt Grimacing Face. All posted online, all without consent, all garnished with cruel hashtags and emojis. My legs gave out, and I dropped onto her bed. This wasn't just bullying. This wasn't teenage drama. My daughter was a predator. And then I found her laptop. Password? The one I had created for her in 7th grade, Mercer Star 7. She never changed it. Hubris. Or maybe she never thought I'd care enough to look. I opened her chat logs. The group message with her friends, Brooke, Megan, Tyler, was all there. It went back months, possibly years. Aubrey found our next target, that kid with the walker in sophomore hall. Megan, OMG yes. Tyler, he tries so hard to act normal LOL. Brooke, guys, maybe we shouldn't. Aubrey, Brooke, stop being such a baby. If you're not in, you're out. Brooke, no, I'm in. Sorry. Tyler, make him think Megan likes him. He'll definitely fall for it. Aubrey, even better. I'll do it. I'm better at pretending to be nice. Each line of text squeezed my heart tighter. The way they schemed, the casual cruelty, the thrill they got from humiliating others. But through the poison, one name appeared again and again, hesitating, resisting. Brooke. Brooke Anderson, her best friend since 6th grade. Or, used to be. I called her mother, Susan, whom I'd known since the dance recital days when our girls shared glitter and bobby pins backstage. Diana, she answered, breathless. I'm so glad you called. Brooke's been in tears all day. She tried to stop Aubrey. Can she come over to talk to you? 20 minutes later, Brooke sat in my living room, knees drawn up, a tissue box between us. Her face was pale, mascara smudged under her eyes. She looked like a child again, far too young for the kind of guilt she was carrying. It started small, she said, barely above a whisper. Just jokes at first. Making fun of people's Instagram posts, awkward photos, bad outfits. But then, Aubrey got obsessed. The meaner the video, the more views. She started picking specific people, Brooke continued. Always kids who couldn't fight back. If someone pushed back, she dropped them. If someone cried, it made the video better. Why didn't you tell anyone? I asked gently. Brooke's eyes filled with tears. She said she'd ruin me. She has videos. From Rachel's birthday party, when I threw up in the pool. She said she'd post it. She knows about my mom. About the drinking. She has dirt on all of us. But you tried to stop what she did to Eli, I said. Brooke nodded. Eli Kelly. He's sweet. He helped me with chemistry when I was failing. He always talks about trains, yeah, but it's kind of cool how much he knows. I told Aubrey it was wrong, that he really liked her. She said if I warned him, she'd destroy me. Do you have proof? Brooke reached into her jacket and pulled out her phone.
Il savait d'everything.
Just in case someone needed to know the truth. Her evidence was overwhelming.
Screenshot.
Voice notes. Aubrey mocking Eli, threatening Brooke, laying out every part of the prank like a twisted blueprint.
One message read.
He actually told his mom he has a girlfriend, loudly crying face, loudly crying face, loudly crying face. This is going to be epic.
Brooke's voice trembled.
There's more. Samantha Ward transferred after Aubrey posted the video of her seizure in gym. Brandon Lee, he dropped out. He just stopped coming one day.
Il sat back, mais trop des regrets.
How many students had I counseled over the years who left our school to escape relentless bullying? And how many of them had my daughter driven away? Will you help me stop her? I asked.
Brooke nodded slowly.
Yes. I'm sorry I didn't come forward sooner. I was just scared.
You're 17, Brooke.
It's not your job to face down bullies alone. That's what adults are supposed to do. After she left, I went to my home office, the one I'd set up during the lockdowns, where I used to counsel struggling students via video calls. That desk had seen healing, but that evening, it saw the beginning of justice. I made a list of every victim, every incident Brooke mentioned, every piece of evidence. My daughter hadn't just crossed a line, she'd incinerated it. On the third day of her punishment, Aubrey finally recorded the apology video. She sat stiffly at the kitchen table, hair pulled back, her face bare. Her voice was flat, robotic. I'm sorry for what I did to Eli at prom. It was wrong to pretend to like him. I shouldn't have let my friends film it. I hope he's okay.
Il stared at her.
Again.
This time with feeling.
And look at the camera.
Not the wall.
This is stupid, she muttered. Then go back to your room. I've got nowhere to be anyway, she spat.
17 takes.
That's how long it took to get something even resembling sincerity. Even then, her eyes stayed cold, calculating. I posted it myself, from a new account. She had no access to her old ones. The response was swift.
Brutal.
That's it? That's all she has to say. She looks like she's reading a script. This is worse than the prank. At least she was honest before.
No remorse. Juste PR damage control.
Hashtag justice for Eli trended by nightfall. Aubrey read the comments over my shoulder.
Heure en chou.
Her face drained of color. They hate me even more now, she whispered. Yes, I replied. Because a forced apology isn't an apology. It's a reaction, not accountability. Then why make me do it?
One mistake.
I pulled the drawer from behind my desk.
Samantha Ward. Brandon Lee.
That boy with cerebral palsy. What was his name again? Oh wait, you never even learned it. Her face turned ghost white.
How did you?
Does it matter? You've been systematically destroying vulnerable kids for months, years, and I was too busy, too trusting, too late. It was just content, she muttered. Everyone does it. You don't understand how social media works. No, I said, standing. I understand perfectly. You used it to torture children who already struggle every single day. You used their pain for entertainment. I turned toward her closet. Your designer bags? I'm selling them. The money will go to anti-bullying organizations. She gasped. Your car? You'll get it back after 200 hours of community service at the Special Needs Center downtown. Her mouth dropped open. Your phone. You'll earn it back when you understand what you did was wrong. Not fake it. Not perform it. Understand it.
This is Hassan. I'm calling Dad.
Go ahead. Oh wait, you don't have a phone. And he hasn't returned a child support call in 2 years. She stormed upstairs, slamming her door so hard the picture of her sweet 16 fell off the wall. It was the one of us smiling, her in that ridiculous Etsy tiara, me beaming with pride.
Il est petit on the floor.
The next morning, I woke up to 37 missed calls. Part 3. I woke to 37 missed calls. The most recent voicemails weren't from friends or colleagues, but from one voice, Dr. Harold Monroe, our school principal. His usually calm tone grew more urgent with every message. Diana, we need to talk. It's about Aubrey. Something's come up. Call me immediately. This can't wait. Parents are demanding action. The board is involved. Please, Diana. Now. My stomach knotted as I returned the call, dread already rising like bile. He didn't waste time. There's been a leak. Someone released a compilation of videos, not just the one involving Eli. This spans over a year. At least a dozen incidents. It's devastating. I braced myself against the kitchen counter, gripping my coffee mug like a lifeline. Aubrey is in all of them, he continued, with her usual group, Tyler, Megan, Kimberly. Parents are demanding expulsions. And Diana, the Thompsons have hired a lawyer. My mug slipped from my hand and shattered on the counter, hot liquid splashing up my sleeve. A lawyer. They're pursuing both civil and criminal action, harassment, emotional distress, and because Eli's disability is documented, potential hate crime charges. The words landed like gunshots. Hate crime. I felt like the air had been vacuumed from the room. I need you to come in, Dr. Monroe said, his voice tight, not just as her mother, but as a staff member. This goes beyond anything we've ever faced. At 10 a.m., I found Aubrey still in bed, buried under her duvet like a child hiding from monsters. Get up, get dressed. Now. She peeked out. It's Saturday.
I'm aware.
Move. There must have been something unfamiliar in my voice, because for once, she obeyed without a fight. 20 minutes later, we walked into a small, sterile conference room at the school district office. Seated at the table were Dr. Monroe, 3 grim-faced school board members, the district superintendent, and a woman in a sharp black suit, Ms. Keller, the school's legal counsel. Aubrey folded her arms, her chin high, but I saw her eyes darting nervously around the room. Aubrey, Dr. Monroe began, are you aware someone has compiled and released a folder of videos showing you and your friends targeting multiple students over the last 18 months? Aubrey's head snapped toward me, her eyes venomous. In that moment, she looked like a caged animal ready to strike. I didn't release anything, I said calmly, though I could feel my pulse hammering in my neck. Though I did find some of those files in her room. It was Brooke, Aubrey muttered. Had to be. She had access to everything. Ms. Keller looked up. So you're admitting there was something to access? Aubrey's lips parted, realization dawning too late. I want a lawyer, she snapped. You're not under arrest, Dr. Monroe replied. Yet. But Aubrey, you need to understand the severity of this. He turned to a file in front of him. 3 families are joining the Thompson lawsuit. 2 students have documented transferring schools due to harassment. 1 is currently in trauma therapy. I watched Aubrey's face falter. Her arrogance faded like a mask melting in heat. This wasn't a viral moment. This wasn't a slap on the wrist. This was reality crashing in. If I may, the superintendent interjected, placing his hands flat on the table. We've reviewed the footage. The pattern is undeniable. These weren't random jokes. Aubrey and her friends deliberately targeted students with disabilities, chronic illnesses, or social difficulties. They filmed them without consent, posted with cruel captions. In at least 3 instances, personal data was leaked. I closed my eyes. Do you mean, I began, my voice hollow, you mean, dox them? Dr. Monroe nodded. Michael's, Eli's, address was shared in a group chat. Someone suggested egging the Red House on Artie Street. I nearly vomited. Did someone actually? Yes. The Thompsons' house was vandalized the night of prom. I turned to Aubrey. Is this true? She stared at the table. All bravado, gone. It was Tyler's idea. But you shared the address? A tiny, shameful nod. Dr. Monroe's voice was like gravel now. Our position is clear. Immediate disciplinary action is required. Aubrey, you are suspended pending a full investigation. We are recommending an expulsion hearing. Aubrey's head snapped up. Expelled? But I'm supposed to graduate. I have college. You should have thought of that, the superintendent snapped, before you waged a year-long campaign of cruelty against vulnerable students. Do you understand the liability you've opened this school up to? We're fielding calls from news outlets. Channel 9 ran the story last night. Aubrey finally turned to me, eyes brimming with real tears for the first time. Mom, please, do something. But all I could see was Eli's crumpling face, Samantha's seizure, Brandon's silence, years of quiet children being broken under the weight of Aubrey's games. I'll get her a lawyer, I said softly, but I won't defend what she did, and I won't try to downplay the consequences. She stared at me, betrayed. Mum, you made these choices, Aubrey, over and over. Now you face them. The meeting stretched another hour. Charges, liabilities, court processes. By the time we left, Aubrey was silent. In the car, she finally whispered, "My life is over. Everything I worked for gone." "Everything you worked for?" I said bitterly. "Or everything I worked to give you, that you threw away for TikTok likes?" She swallowed. "I didn't think."
No.
"You didn't think about Eli crying himself to sleep. You didn't think about Samantha convulsing while people laugh, or Brandon hiding in his room. You thought only about you, and your follower count." "I'm sorry," she murmured. "Are you?" I turned to look her in the eyes. "Are you sorry for what you did, or sorry you got caught?" She didn't answer. That weekend, while Aubrey locked herself in her room, I did what I should have done long ago. I contacted the parents of her victims. Some hung up as soon as they heard my voice. Others let me speak but declined to meet. But 3 agreed, the Thompsons, the Wards, and Mrs. Lorraine Lee, Brandon's grandmother. We met in a quiet conference room at the local community center. I brought the documentation I'd gathered, the screenshots, timelines, everything I'd done to hold Aubrey accountable. She took my baby's smile, Mrs. Lee said softly, sitting upright in a crisp navy sweater. Her hair was in a neat silver bun, her fingers wrinkled but strong. Brandon used to sing in the shower. He laughed at everything. Now he doesn't leave his room, doesn't eat properly. He just exists. Rebecca Ward nodded. The seizure video has been viewed over 4 million times. 4 million people saw my daughter collapse and laugh. The comments, she shook her head, unable to finish. "I know there's nothing I can say to undo what she did," I said. "I'm not here to ask for forgiveness. I just want you to know that I'm not shielding her. I'm not hiring flashy lawyers. I'm not spinning this." "Why not?" Janet Thompson asked. "She's your daughter. Because if I protect her now, she'll never change. And she'll hurt more people. And that's not a daughter I'm willing to have." I placed the folders on the table. "I'm willing to help your cases. Whatever you need, my testimony, the evidence. It's yours." There was a long silence. Rebecca finally asked, "She really doesn't feel bad, does she?" "Not yet," I admitted. "Right now, she's grieving her own losses. But I'm hoping the consequences will teach her what empathy hasn't." Mrs. Lee leaned forward. "My Brandon tried to end his life." I froze. 3 days after she posted a video of him, called him too ugly to live. He swallowed a bottle of pills. I found him just in time. Her voice broke, but her eyes stayed steel strong. And there it was.
My docteur a denté juste broken hearts.
She'd pushed children to the brink, nearly ended lives. "I'll testify," I said firmly, "to the school board, in court."
Whatever it takes.
"Even if she gets a record?" Janet asked. "Even if she loses college?" Even then. We stayed another 2 hours. We cried. We shared. And for the first time in weeks, I felt something shift.
Not hope, not yet.
But something more honest, more necessary. Accountability had finally begun. Part 4.
Forgiveness.
I wasn't foolish enough to expect it, but I hoped, deep down, maybe selfishly, for recognition, that I wasn't the villain, that I wasn't a mother who looked the other way, that I was finally trying to become the woman who should have raised Aubrey right from the beginning. As we left the quiet community center after our meeting with the victims' families, Mrs. Lorraine Lee reached out and gently touched my arm. Her eyes, still full of quiet pain, met mine with a clarity that pierced deeper than any courtroom could. "That girl of yours, she needs help," she said. "Not defense. Not more excuses. Not help from lawyers or lectures. Real help. Because something inside her is broken. I nodded, lips trembling. I know, I'm trying. Try harder, she interrupted, not cruelly, but with a gravity that shook me, before she destroys herself along with everyone else. That same week, I sold Aubrey's designer handbags. The ones she flaunted like war medals, her Prada, her Louis Vuitton, her Balenciaga. They brought in $3,400. Aubrey watched from her bedroom window in silence as strangers walked up our porch and handed me envelopes in exchange for pieces of her curated identity. That's my entire collection, she said flatly from behind the glass. Yes. Do you even know how much those were worth? I do, I replied. I bought most of them. That's part of how we got here, isn't it? Me trying to substitute expensive things for actual parenting. I donated the money to Pacer's National Bullying Prevention Center in the names of the children she had hurt. I taped the donation receipt on the refrigerator, right where her honor roll certificates used to hang. Soon after, the college letters began to roll in, not acceptances, but retractions. One by one.
State University.
TQ. All 3 private schools. Even her so-called safety net community school. Each letter cited recent events and concerns over character. Her name had become a cautionary tale. Well, I said gently after the last one, community college it is. I can't show my face at MCC, she snapped. Everyone will know what I did. Then do online classes, I said. You'll figure it out. But the real blow didn't come from a university. It came from a phone call.
A woman's voice on the other end.
I'm Jennifer Thompson, she said without pause.
Amélie Sisté.
I'm home from college because my brother's in the hospital. I nearly dropped the phone. My knees buckled and I collapsed onto the couch. The hospital? I whispered. He tried to step in front of a car, Jennifer said, her tone sharp with barely contained fury. He couldn't take it anymore.
The staring, the whispering, the laughter.
Knowing he was stupid enough to believe that someone like your daughter could actually care about him. Oh my God, is he? He's alive. Physically, he'll recover. But emotionally, she paused. I'm not sure my brother will ever trust anyone again. I don't want your apology, Jennifer cut in coldly.
You want your understanding.
I want you to really know what your daughter did. My eyes burned, but I didn't interrupt her again. Michael was happy, she said. Yes, he was different. Quirky. But he was happy. He had interests and dreams. He was going to study transportation engineering because, yes, he loves trains. Your daughter crushed that for content. She turned my brother's kindness into a joke. 4 clicks. I couldn't breathe. What can I do? I asked, desperate. Make sure your daughter understands what she took, Jennifer replied. Not just what she's lost, but what she ripped away from others. She didn't wait for my response. Every comment on that video was a weight on his shoulders. Every laugh chipped away at his trust. And the next time one of your daughter's victims breaks, the blood will be on both your hands. Then she hung up.
He sat in the dark for hours. Jennifer's word playing over and over in my head. Tryhardé.
Aubrey's community service began 2 weeks later. The Special Needs Center of Greater Cleveland. Every Saturday and Sunday. 8 a.m. sharp. 20 hours a week. Until she completed 200. She groaned the entire drive. I don't know anything about kids with special needs, she said, arms crossed, mouth tight. You'll learn, I said, not unkindly. Linda Foster, the center's director, met us at the front door. I had explained everything over the phone when arranging Aubrey's placement. She had agreed to supervise, under strict conditions. She works directly with our clients, Linda said, looking Aubrey straight in the eye. No hiding in the office.
No filing paperwork.
She will assist with meals, activities, basic care, and she will learn to see these children for who they are, human beings who deserve dignity. Aubrey went pale. And yes, Linda added, some of our kids will need help feeding themselves. Some may not speak at all. Others will make noises that aren't familiar to you, but that doesn't mean they're less deserving of kindness. The first day was brutal. Aubrey came home furious. That boy drooled on me, she complained. Like, actually drooled. And another kid kept making those weird sounds. Those sounds, I said evenly, are how he communicates. Did you try to understand him? How am I supposed to understand random noises? By listening. By caring. By seeing him as a person, not a problem. She rolled her eyes and stomped to her room. But she was up the next morning. Reluctant, but dressed. Quiet, but willing. I didn't tell her that Linda sent me updates after every shift. The first week, Aubrey barely engaged. She stood in corners. She avoided eye contact. But in week 2, something shifted. A little girl named Sophie, who had Down syndrome, latched onto Aubrey like glue. She follows me everywhere, Aubrey complained at dinner. Maybe she likes you. Why would she like me? I don't even talk to her. Maybe that's why, I replied. Maybe you're just present, not judging her, just there. Aubrey frowned. She tried to braid my hair today. Her hands don't work quite right. It was more like pulling, for 20 minutes straight. Did you let her? Yes, she said, and then quieter. She seemed really happy about it. It was the first time in weeks I'd heard Aubrey mention someone else's joy. Linda's reports started changing. Aubrey helped Sophie paint today. Aubrey ate lunch with a teen group instead of hiding in the bathroom. Aubrey stayed an extra hour to help with movie night. That hour wasn't required. Then came a quiet Sunday evening when Aubrey came home not angry, not annoyed, but pensive. There's this boy, Ethan, she said slowly. He's like Eli, artistic, into dinosaurs, like really into them. I didn't say anything. I just listened. He talked for an hour about velociraptors, she said. Then another volunteer started mocking him, making faces, pretending to fall asleep. What did you do? I asked softly. Aubrey stared at her hands. I told her to stop. I told her Ethan was teaching me something, and then I asked him more questions until she left. That was kind. It wasn't kind, she snapped. It was basic decency. Isn't that just what you're supposed to do? Yes, I nodded. It is. She looked at me, eyes sharp with pain. So why didn't I do that with Michael? I didn't answer. I didn't need to. That night, I heard her talking quietly on the house phone. The lawyer had finally allowed contact with Brooke. I get it now, Aubrey said. Why you tried to stop me. I was really mean, wasn't I? I didn't hear Brooke's reply, but Aubrey's next words gave me hope. I want to fix it. I don't know how, but I want to try. The civil lawsuit papers arrived on a Tuesday. 14 families had joined the claim. Emotional distress, therapy costs. In 2 cases, medical bills from suicide attempts. Aubrey read through the thick stack of documents, her face turning ghost white. They're suing for $1.2 million. Yes, we don't have that kind of money. No, we don't. What happens now? We might declare bankruptcy, might lose the house, might have to start over. She stared at me in horror. You'd lose the house, the one you saved for? Consequences don't just fall on you, Aubrey. That's the lesson. They fall on the people who raised you, who believed in you, who enabled you. I gave you everything, except a conscience. But that's not fair. You didn't do anything wrong. I raised you. That was my job. I tried to be your friend, not your teacher. So now, we're both paying the price. Our lawyer, an honest man who handled juvenile cases, was brutally frank. The evidence is overwhelming, he said. The videos, the messages, the patterns. It's airtight. What's the best case scenario? I asked. Settle. Apologize. Cooperate. Show genuine remorse. Pray the families want justice more than revenge. Part 5. Aubrey had been silent throughout the entire mediation prep, eyes lowered, shoulders slightly hunched, as if physically shrinking under the weight of everything crashing down around her. But as we left the lawyer's office, stepping out into the gray slush of late winter, she stopped walking and turned to me. Can I meet them? She asked softly. I stared at her, unsure if I'd heard right. The families. She nodded. I want to. I need to. Not with some stupid video or carefully worded email. I want to tell them face to face. I want to apologize. Really apologize. Our lawyer, Mr. Calhoun, glanced at her in surprise. That's unusual and risky, he said cautiously. Most families don't want direct contact. Some will see it as manipulative. I know, Aubrey said quickly, but it's not about fixing anything. I have to say it, to their faces. I studied her closely. Was this another carefully constructed move? One more performance to gain sympathy or soften the blow? But something in her face had shifted these past few weeks. The coldness had ebbed. What remained was raw, confused, but undeniably real. She looked older somehow, but not in the way she used to try to seem. This wasn't false maturity. It was shame, and something deeper, maybe regret. I'll ask, Mr. Calhoun said finally. Don't expect much. But surprisingly, 6 families agreed. Not the Thompsons. Eli was still too fragile, but others. The DeVisas, the Wards, even Mrs. Lorraine Lee. They came, one by one, into the neutral conference room of a family advocacy center. Their faces were drawn, lined not just with age, but with grief, disappointment, and exhaustion. Aubrey sat across from them. No makeup. Hair pulled back into a low ponytail. The oversized sweatshirt she wore swallowed her, making her look younger than 17, like the girl she might have been before cruelty became currency. She clutched a sheet of paper in her hand, but made no move to open it. I prepared a statement, she said, voice trembling. But I'm not going to read it. There was a pause. I've spent my whole life reading statements, saying what I thought people wanted to hear. I don't want to do that anymore. She looked each of them in the eye, one by one. I tortured your children for entertainment. I picked them because I thought they were easy targets, because I believed that being different made them less than, because I was desperate to be liked, to be popular, and I traded human decency for likes and comments. Samantha Ward's mother broke first, silent tears streaming down her cheeks. Lorraine Lee clutched her purse like she was holding herself together with it. I don't expect you to forgive me, Aubrey continued. I don't deserve it. But I need you to know, I see it now. What I did, what I took from your children, what I took from you. There was silence, and then Lorraine Lee's voice cut through it like steel. Do you? She asked. Do you really see it? Or is this just another performance? Aubrey flinched, but she didn't look away. I work at the special needs center now, she said. There's this girl, Sophie. She has Down syndrome, and she thinks I'm her best friend. Her voice cracked. Every time she hugs me, I think about how 6 months ago, I would have filmed her. I would have laughed at her trying to tie her shoes. I would have put a terrible caption on the video and posted it, just for attention. Now the tears were pouring, loud, messy, ugly tears that had nothing to do with saving face. There's this boy named Ethan, she continued. He loves dinosaurs like Eli loves trains. He told me the same facts twice in one day, and I realized, Eli probably told me about trains because he thought I cared, because I made him think I cared, and then I humiliated him for it. Across the table, Mrs. Davis spoke. Her voice was fragile, yet sharp with pain. My son Nathan, he won't talk in class anymore. He used to get so excited when it was presentation day. Now, he won't even raise his hand. His grades are slipping. I know, Aubrey said. I mean, I don't know what that's like, but I know I caused it. We made fun of the way he stuttered. We called him NN Nathan, and thought it was hilarious. She covered her face with both hands. It wasn't hilarious. It was cruel. And I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't make my grandson leave his room, Mrs. Lee said. Her voice didn't waver. No, Aubrey agreed. It doesn't. But maybe if he knows I'm trying, that I'm learning about kids like him, that I'm seeing them now as human beings instead of content, maybe that helps a little. No one spoke for several moments. Finally, Samantha's mother leaned forward.
What do you want from us? Nothing, Aubrey whispered.
I'm not asking for anything. I just needed you to know that I was wrong, that your children didn't deserve what I did to them.
That I'm the broken one.
Not them. The mediation lasted 2 hours. By the end, 3 families agreed to reduce their settlements, not out of forgiveness, but perhaps recognition that Aubrey was taking her first real steps toward understanding. The others didn't budge. I didn't blame them.
On the drive home, Aubrey stared out the window in silence.
Only when we pulled into our driveway did she speak. They hate me. Yes, I replied. They should hate me. Yes. She looked down at her hands.
Ils hate me too.
I turned off the engine and looked at her. Then change. Not for them. Not for me, but because you hate who you've become. Become someone you can live with. She nodded slowly, her face wet with quiet tears. I'm trying, Mom. I'm really trying. I know, baby, I said gently. I know. The video that changed everything came not from the school or from victims' families, but from Brooke Anderson. Unbeknownst to anyone, Brooke had been documenting not just the bullying itself, but the behind-the-scenes planning. She'd sent a trove of footage to a local news station. The expose that aired was devastating, but it wasn't the leaked clips that shook the internet. It was one conversation, captured between Aubrey and Tyler Matthews, on a day they were brainstorming their next target. Aubrey, there's that new kid with the prosthetic leg.
Tyler, oh yeah.
You can tell when he walks. Aubrey, even better. I'll ask him to teach me a dance for prom. Can you imagine him trying to dance?
Tyler, logging your evil.
I love it. Aubrey, it's just content. Tyler, they're not real people. They're just content. That phrase, they're not real people, became a rallying cry. The hashtag not just content exploded. Victims of cyberbullying across the country came forward with their own stories. Survivors, parents, teachers. The news segment won an Emmy within months. We watched it together in the living room. Aubrey curled into the corner of the couch, like she wanted to disappear. I said that, she whispered. I really said they weren't real people. Yes, I said, but they are. Sophie is real. Ethan is real. Eli is real. She stared blankly at the screen. How did I not see that? I don't know, I admitted. Maybe because I taught you to see achievements instead of people. Maybe your father and I both did that. Or maybe social media did. She was quiet a moment, then spoke again.
Dad kallde yesterday.
I tensed. He said I was embarrassing him. That his new wife's kids are getting teased because of me. That I'm ruining his life.
He said nothing.
He didn't ask if I was okay, or if I needed help, just how I was affecting him. I'm sorry, I said quietly. Don't be, she said, eyes glassy. It helped me realize something. I'm just like him, aren't I? Caring more about how things affect me than how they affect others. You were, I said gently, but you're changing. Am I? She asked. Or am I just sad I got caught? The fact that you're asking means you're not the same person anymore. 3 weeks later, Karen Thompson, a documentary filmmaker, began filming. Aubrey had agreed, not because of court orders, not for college applications, but because she wanted to help stop the next Aubrey before it started. She'd been expelled by then, took online classes, split her time between the special needs center and a cashier job at Target. She'd insisted on helping repay my legal fees. Karen was kind but unflinching. She began by interviewing the victims. Michael, brave, quiet Michael, only appeared in shadow. I bought a new shirt, he said softly. Spent an hour fixing my hair. My mom helped me pick flowers. I thought maybe it meant something, maybe friendship could turn into love. Then the video played. Even knowing it was coming, I had to leave the room. Aubrey's first on-camera interview was a disaster. She was stiff, rehearsed, trying too hard. Karen stopped filming. You're performing, she said bluntly. I don't want a PR campaign. I want the truth. Aubrey hesitated. I don't know how to give that. Start with the truth, Karen said. Why did you do it? Aubrey looked at her, then at me. Because I could, she said. Because they couldn't fight back. Because the meaner the video, the more likes I got. Because cruelty made me feel powerful. Karen nodded. That's a start. Now go deeper. Why did you need to feel powerful? Aubrey swallowed. And for the first time, she began to answer. Part 6.
The real interview, ****, not the polished sit-downs or rehearsed media moments, but the raw, unflinching one-on-one with a documentary filmmaker, ****, lasted over 4 hours. Aubrey sat under the harsh, unkind lights, her fingers gripping a water bottle, like it was the only thing keeping her grounded.
She didn't start with the cruelty.
She started with the beginning, the unraveling.
She talked about the divorce, how everything felt like it split down the middle. One home became two. Familiar routines became chaos. One parent disappeared emotionally, the other overcompensated with love, gifts, and silence. And in between it all, Aubrey learned to perform. For him.
For my friends. For strangers online. Always saw me on.
Always a new audience, she said, voice shaking. If I wasn't being funny, I was invisible. If I wasn't in control, I was irrelevant. The first cruel video, she explained, was an accident. A kid had tripped in the cafeteria, spilled their tray, and in a moment of impulse, she recorded it and posted it. It got over 1,000 views in a single day. 1,000 people laughing at a stranger's pain. It felt like a drug, she admitted. I wasn't popular at school, but online, I mattered. People noticed me, and every time the numbers climbed, I felt worth something. But the high faded, so she chased a stronger one. Each video had to be meaner, sharper, the pain more obvious.
The lauter more vicieux.
And the easiest targets? Kids who were already set apart. Autistic, disabled, poor, quiet, different. I didn't even have to try, she whispered. They already stood out. All I had to do was point the camera. The filmmaker leaned in then. When did you realize they were people?
Aubrey's face twisted, her eyes welling up.
When Sophie braided my hair. She spoke of Sophie, the soft-spoken girl at the special needs center with Down syndrome who followed her around like a shadow, who called her Aubrey in her sweet, unsteady voice, who had no idea who Aubrey used to be. She just wanted a friend. And she chose me. The girl who would have filmed her struggling, made a joke out of her, destroyed her for laughs. And instead, she was gentle. Her hands didn't work quite right, but she kept saying pretty while she played with my hair. And I realized, I was the ugly one, not her, me. The documentary used real footage, quiet clips of Aubrey helping the kids with crafts, with feeding, with cleanup. Not staged, not stiff, just present. Sophie was always close by, holding her hand or tugging gently at her sleeve, trusting her. She forgave me without even knowing there was anything to forgive, Aubrey said in the voiceover. That's the kind of person I used to mock, someone capable of unconditional love. But the true turning point didn't come from cameras. It came from a quiet meeting in a therapist's office,
No lights, no crew, just Aubrey, me, Michael Stevens, his parents and his grief. Aubrey clutched a letter she had written. 2 pages of carefully chosen words. But when Michael walked in, frail, thinner than I remembered, eyes shadowed and darting, Aubrey didn't read a single line. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry." Michael didn't speak, not at first. He just stared at the floor, his hands trembling in his lap. Then he looked up. "Why?" Aubrey's lip trembled. "Why am I sorry?" Michael shook his head. "No." "Why did you pretend?" I thought someone finally liked me. Not the version people tolerated. The real me. The one who talks too much about trains, who doesn't get sarcasm, who has to rehearse conversations in his head just to make sure he says things right." Aubrey broke. Her body shook with sobs so deep they seemed to split her in two. "Because I'm broken," she cried. "Because making you hurt made me feel powerful. Because I didn't see you as a person, just content. And that's on me, not you. You're not the problem. You never were." Michael looked at her for a long time. "The videos are still out there," he said. "People saved them. They still send them to me." "I know," she whispered. "I'm trying to get them taken down. It doesn't matter. The internet's forever. I'll always be the autistic kid who thought someone could love him." My heart ached. I leaned in, softly. "Someone will love you, Michael. Exactly as you are." He turned to me. "How can you say that, when your daughter proved the opposite?" I had no words. "But Aubrey did." "Because you're worthy of love," she said, her voice steadier now. "The way you care about things deeply. The way you show excitement without being embarrassed. The way you trusted me even though people have probably hurt you before. Those aren't flaws. They're strengths. I don't have those. I don't believe you." "You shouldn't," she said gently. "I haven't earned belief, but it's true." The session ended without closure. Michael walked out without saying goodbye. But before they left, his mother Carol approached Aubrey. "He wrote you a letter," she said. "He was going to give it to you at prom. About how much your attention meant to him, how you made him feel seen." She handed her the envelope. Aubrey read it in the parking lot. It was 2 pages of tender, hopeful words, his careful handwriting filled with trust and vulnerability. She threw up behind the car. 6 months later, the aftermath aired. By then, Aubrey had completed her 200 hours of community service, though she still volunteered weekly. We'd settled the lawsuits, kept the house, but my retirement fund was gone. She was enrolled in community college. The documentary received mixed reactions. Some saw it as a redemption arc, others saw it as a calculated PR effort. But then something strange happened. Other bullies started reaching out. Teenagers, mostly, some as young as 13, some nearly 20. All of them had done what Aubrey had, mocked, filmed, laughed, destroyed, and all of them were lost in shame. "What do I tell them?" she asked me. I took a deep breath. The truth, that it's hard, that some damage can't be undone, that the guilt doesn't go away, but that trying to be better is always worth it. She started a group, quietly, no media coverage, no press release. A peer support circle for kids who had bullied others and wanted to change. I sat in on some sessions, watched my daughter lead discussions on empathy, consequence, and repair. "We told ourselves they weren't real people," she told the group one night. "But we were the ones who stopped being human. Every cruel post chipped away at us. Getting that humanity back, that's the real work." 2 years passed. Aubrey transferred to State University. No scholarships, no applause. But she'd earned her place. She majored in social work. Her focus? Cyberbullying prevention. Her senior thesis presentation was modest, but powerful. She interviewed both victims and perpetrators, building a framework for interrupting digital cruelty. "The key," she explained, "is understanding that dehumanization is a two-way street. When we treat others as content, we become performers. Breaking that means choosing empathy. Radically, even for people like me." Afterward, I noticed someone lingering in the back row. Michael Stevens, now a junior in college, studying transportation engineering. He waited until the room cleared, then walked up slowly. "That was good," he said quietly. "Important." Aubrey blinked. "Michael, thank you for coming." "I didn't forgive you," he said immediately. "I want to be clear about that. It still hurts. I'm still in therapy. I still can't trust people who show interest in me." "I know," she said. "I don't expect anything." But, he paused. "I'm glad you're using it, the pain you caused. If it helps someone else, it matters." They didn't hug. They didn't become friends. But they nodded.
Two humans. Not enemies. Not victim and monster. Just people facing the same road from different ends. Today, Aubrey works for a non-profit. She travels to schools, speaking to students about cyberbullying. She shows them the videos, the awful ones she made, and then the documentary. She doesn't sugarcoat it. I was a monster, she tells them, not because I was born evil, but because I was casually cruel with tools available to all of you. That's the danger. Any of you could become me. Some listen, some don't. But when she gets an email from a student who stopped bullying because of her talk, or from a survivor who finally felt seen, she forwards it to me. It doesn't undo what I did, she told me recently. Michael's innocence is gone. Brandon's confidence is damaged. Samantha's privacy was shattered. But maybe it's something. Sophie is 19 now. She still hugs Aubrey whenever she visits the center, still calls her, still asks to braid her hair. She doesn't know about the lawsuits, the videos, or the cruelty. She just knows Aubrey is her friend. She's the best part of my week, Aubrey admitted once. She sees something good in me I'm not sure exists. But I try to be that person for her. That's all we can do, I said. Try to be worthy of the love we're given. Aubrey's phone buzzed then. She looked at it, smiled faintly, and put it down. Not important? I asked. Nothing on there is as important as this, she said, gesturing to our coffee mugs. Our quiet moment. That's what I learned. Too late maybe, but I learned it. The likes, the views, the shares, none of it matters if you lose your soul in the process. We finished our drinks in silence. Not heavy silence. Peaceful silence. Outside, life kept moving. Kids made mistakes. Parents tried their best. Everyone stumbled, imperfectly, toward something better. Aubrey stood to leave for work. Love you, Mom. Love you too, baby. She paused in the doorway. I'm glad you didn't protect me from this. As much as it hurt, as much as we lost. I'm glad you let me face it. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. But you saved me. Not the version of me I performed. Not the bully. Me, the real me. Then she left, and I sat with my coffee, now cold, thinking about redemption. About how somewhere, Michael was designing train systems. Brandon was learning to trust again. Samantha had started a support group for teens with epilepsy. And Aubrey, my daughter, was becoming someone who could live with herself. In the end, that's all we can really hope for, to face the ugliest parts of ourselves and choose something better. Not with fanfare, not with applause, just one apology, one act of service, one moment of seeing another person as real. Again, and again, and again.